educatori, come manager, cosa possiamo apportare al mondo che ci circonda con Coaching by Values?
Everything. Everything, because when I meet executives, when I meet director, and they tell me, listen, what you're telling us is wonderful, but the culture with the values you're talking about, this depends on the people on the top. This doesn't depend on us. No, that's not true. We all have some teams of people to work with. You know, people tell me sometimes, I have no experience in management. And I asked them, are you married? He said, yes. You have an organization. Because the dynamic is the same. You have a couple, you have a friend, you have a girlfriend. That's what management is all about, because if you don't share values, you're not going to succeed. And in order to make sure that the values that you share are aligned, you have to invest. It doesn't come automatically. So if you don't know what to invest and how to invest, you're going to fail. Managers have the same thing. Manager right now, they said, we don't have the support. Yeah, it's not an ideal work. They cannot solve all the problems. So what I found out, that any manager needs to be a coach. Not professional coach like many of the professional coaches like yourself, but a coach to his team. Because if he's a coach, he's going to be, first of all, he's going to listen to them to find out, what's the problem. And listening, it's an art, Then he said, what can I do to make the life of those people who work with me better? And you can do a lot. You can do a lot, and it's not just a matter of paying them more. That's false. Today, people want more than just money. So when they understand the structure of values, when he or she is going to look for alignment, when they understand that they can generate some moments of happiness, and hopefully there are going to be more of these moments, because bad things in life happen, we don't control it, but the good moment can be planned, and that's what I'm planting to managers. So when all of a sudden they understand the concept, and when they understand that they can do something, and now we give them the tools of how to do it, how to measure it, then they become very happy. And even though I can tell you that there is no revolution in the field, hopefully it will happen, what I'm trying to offer people may fall on very deaf ears of many executives. Why? Because they're afraid of change. So you have to manage also the process of change very, very skillfully. Not everyone, they just read a book and say, hey, I discovered the word. Okay, but if you stay here tonight, when we launch the new book, you'll see that I asked some top manager, from CEO of executive, the vice president of SAP, it's a big German company, and small companies. I told them, read the book, and the only thing I want to say, kill me if you want, kill the content. But if you find something that might be useful to a larger organization, smaller organization, let's share it, let's talk about it. I don't know what will happen, but from the feedback I got so far, someone say, hey, I didn't know about it, I'm going to use it in my company tomorrow, and we didn't even talk to them about it, just read the book. So, but I read it with attention.
Rispetto a questo concetto di proporre, invitare le persone a capire i propri valori, perché sono la base del comportamento professionale, personale e finalmente anche sociale ed economico. Tu nella primavera passata hai fatto il primo congresso di management e spiritualità, e adesso so che stai preparando un altro.
Yeah.
E sembrerebbe quasi un passo più in là, perché parlare di valori si può capire nell'ambito dell'impresa. Le imprese hanno i loro valori e la base della loro visione e missione. La dimensione della spiritualità, come...
This is something relatively new, because it doesn't fall exactly into my three axes that I'm studying, because we have the economic, we have the social ethical, we have the emotional, and the spirituality is something new. I don't know, how it's going to evolve in the future. But what I found out, and again, those are hunches, we're at the beginning of something called co-evolution. And probably with years, it will get a little bit clearer. Right now, here is what I pretend. When I do culture reengineering, I re-engineer culture in companies, I say two things. Number one, you cannot have an absence in any culture of any one of the three axes that I'm talking about in my books. So you need to have some values connected to economic because of the world that we live in. We need to have some values connected to ethics. This is the rule of the game. How do you get to the end? And you need to have some emotional values because emotions, that's what life is all about. The moment that you don't feel, you're numb, you're dead. Maybe you don't know, but you're dead, okay? So spirituality is something that I feel is happening to me, but I cannot measure it. And I cannot, so when I don't know something, I organize a congress. I have to tell you, that's an interesting way of finding a little bit more information about it. So we organize the conference, but when I re-engineer culture, I feel that especially in Europe, and Italy is part of Europe, you see, in Europe, when you look at the future, we have older population, we don't have natural resources, so what can sustain our lifestyle that we're used to today is innovation and creativity now. What I found out in companies, they talk a lot about it, but how do you generate innovation? How do you make people creative? And when I look at myself, I can tell you what my own children are telling me. I say, Papa, in your age, why are you writing still? Why are you running? And I tell them it's my passion. I have something spiritual in me that tells me you have to do it. And that's not because I make more money. So it's not the instrumentality. Instrumentality is to share some of the fruits of what I think I'm going to do to make the world better, to innovate, to create, and so on and so forth. Because we do a lot more of the same. So, because what is the role of a leader today? One of the role of the leader is to develop the vision of the company. When I talk about, people tell me about company culture, I say there is no company culture. There is people that are trying maybe to impose their ideas and say, but everything is negotiable. Everything can change. So if you change a leader, you can change a country. If you change political leader's vision, you can change the vision of a country. If you change business leader, you can change the nature of the business. If you change a family, someone that is the chief of the family, whatever, I don't want to say father, mother, whatever, you can change the way the family is going to behave. So they're all people, basically. So I noted that when people feel or are more spiritual, not necessarily more religious, because what I found out is that very religious people are not spiritual and non-religious people that are very spiritual. So spirituality drives innovation and creativity. And one of the reasons that it happened is that spiritual people are not afraid to fail. And the fear of failure is the thing that makes people not try. And anything new, at the beginning, you're not perfect. You have a new software coming, and another version is coming, and you're hesitant. Should I leave whatever I practice, or should I learn something new? And you know that when you learn something new, you're not going to be very good at the beginning. Then when you practice it, same thing happens with anything in life.
Abbiamo notato che Coaching by Values nasce da 20 anni di ricerca accademica nelle università tra i dottorandi.
Mm-hmm.
Ci puoi raccontare un po' del processo?
Yeah, it's really not coaching by value. Coaching by value is about 15-20 years before I did managing by values. Okay, so but the world of values, this is a little bit longer. I started the journey by trying to re-examine something that I thought I knew, but actually I was in shock. I did not know. And this has to do with the issue of success. What is the meaning of success in life? And what is the meaning of success in a job? And when I was a doctoral student, I studied in Minnesota, and we had a very famous clinic over there. It's called the Mayo Clinic. So I had an experiment that made me, everything happened by incidents or accidents. In the Mayo Clinic, what happened is that, I realized one thing, that people start to think about life and death when they have crisis, real crisis. Could be health crisis, could be a romantic crisis, could be because you lose your job, crisis. He said, So what am I doing to now? People are shocked. I try to reorient yourself. Okay. In the Mayo Clinic, I interviewed a lot of people who survived the first heart attack. And then I realized that much in their perception, the reason for their developing heart attack had to do with work. So, and what I realized is that at least in the Western countries, we spend most of our working life, in work. So what's happening over there is really can affect our life. So, and made sense. He said, how do you develop the kind of work where you don't go to work, you want to play? Now I don't feel like I'm working. I'm playing, I'm enjoying it, even though it might be the core of my business. That's what I need to do. And I reached the conclusion that we can create the kind of organization that people can really have this kind of sense of competency and playfulness. I also believe that the notion of excellence can happen when we come up with a very interesting configuration where people have technical competencies, but at the same time they have passion, they have, to whatever they do. Because you look at football player, because the only thing sustainable in life is our passion. It's not our technical competence. So slowly I moved from understanding how can I change an organization to how do I change people. I started to get interested in what coaches are doing as change agents. I was an organizational change agent and decided maybe to become an individual, a person change agent. Even though my training is in IO psychology, I don't practice it. I don't do kind of clinical session. I don't do it. Okay, I work with organizations, and what happened is that I didn't know anything about coaching. So what I did as a good academic, I tried to identify what are the most dominating school of thought in coaching, who heads them, and I personally interviewed. I went to talk to each one of them. Some of them became even friends of mine today, and some of them encouraged me because I asked them, do you think that the world of coaching needs another school of thought, and it has to do with values? And they really encouraged me, to do it. John Whitmore, I can mention one name. I met him about 3-4 years ago. Richard Barrett that is doing, a lot of work in this, and I can tell you more and more and more. And I can tell you about, Grinder, and so on. I had exchanges. I invite them also to contribute to my book Vignette, and many of them did. So when I write books about it, I said, here, you have a manual. This manual can serve you. If you want to get more information, come to some of our training. If you want to get more information, do a matter. You want more information, there is a way to develop. Like I go to other people that offer training where I learn from them. Did I answer your question? So this is, more or less, the field that I got into it. But it's based on a lot of years of research. I don't want to bore you with some statistics and research, but some of our findings about values, and especially when we talk about the triaxial model, which is the center figure, of our model, has been refined through many pieces of research in many countries in the world. Actually, almost 28 countries in the world. We tested it to find out, what, and it's working. What's interesting, it's working. It's working quite well, and I'm very happy about it.
Grazie. Continueremo all'infinito, ma diremo come te, se c'è più curiosità, venire ai nostri corsi. Grazie.
Grazie mille e arrivederci.
Grazie.
Gracias.